Hey, Canadians and Americans and whatnots and Humpty Dump Nuts and everybody. It is Tuesday, April 29th in the United States and Canada, and this is What Chaos presented by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code WhatChaos. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks, run your game. My name is David Bean. I sit beside Pete Blackburn, and across the room is Sean DePaz. Hello, Sean. Congratulations on the election.
I was very involved in the Canadian elections, and by involved I mean watching it closely. They have a multi-party system, if you don't know. A lot of very interesting parties when you go down the ticket, including one just called the Marijuana Party.
Yeah,
I like that being your whole platform.
Absolutely. Go for it.
We've never been invited to a marijuana party.
Y'all haven't.
We've held our own
marijuana party.
Yeah, we have
famously in Detroit.
True.
We had the best marijuana party.
Shout out.
Yes.
Detroit.
Shout out DJ's Panic Attack while watching Taskmaster.
While watching Taskmaster. Shout out who's on there? There was Lucy.
There's two Lucys, wasn't there? Or there was Lucy. There was two.
Susan.
So there was two Susans.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sue something, and then there was
Sue
Susan
Perkins.
and Sue.
Sue Perkins.
But who's like the
Sam Campbell.
Sam Campbell.
And then there
Absolute
was the
stud.
older gay man.
Oh, that guy,
Julian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like the sassiest bitch I've ever seen in my life.
One of the best seasons of television I would put up.
Strong
with
recommend.
anything.
Yeah.
Is that season 7 or 17? It's one of the two.
One of the two.
There's
I
a
don't
7
remember.
involved.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
17.
Pete, give the folks the
Oh,
news.
wait, Pete, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing
Oh.
great. I'm doing great. I got my my Gunners jersey on. Shout out
Gunners.
Arsenal, a big Champions League semifinal match today.
Mhm.
So shout out to the boys.
All right, give them the news.
Today, we've got news, including politics. We're talking shop today on What Chaos. The Canadian election was yesterday, and stuff happened. Votes were cast. Ballots were balloted. So we'll talk about that. And we've got crazy-ass Florida. I assume that that's just a general encapsulation of the Battle of Florida, which has been unbelievable.
Crazy
insane.
ass even.
Yesterday's game was outrageous. One of the funniest games of the season. We'll talk about that. Paul Bissonnette's going to join the show. You know him as the legend on the TNT panel. Maybe the guy in the commercial. Maybe just the guy who beats up people in restaurants. He's a legend who transcends hockey at this point. So he's going to join the show. And then finally, Avstonk is cheap because they are the first team in the Western Conference to face elimination.
Crazy. Yeah. All the West doing the same thing, 2-2. All the East doing the same thing, 3-1. And now finally, we got the Avs on the brink, which is kind of crazy because it all fits in this big theme, something I've wanted to hit for like a week now, which is no clue who's going to win the Stanley Cup this year. It is There's so much more uncertainty than there has ever been at this point in recent years. So we will discuss that with the great Paul Bissonnette. Quickly, just to make good on the rundown, we'll do 1 second on politics. Sean, crazy choke job by the Conservative Party.
Yeah, big time. Shout out Justin Trudeau for getting the fuck out of the way. American liberals could have learned that lesson a little sooner. And shout out Donald Trump for talking his shit and just handing the liberals an election in Canada.
Trump chunked it so bad that he lost the Conservatives an election in a different country.
Yes.
Like Trump, just by being Trump, Canada was like, we can't elect this guy. who's got kind of one or two things in common with Trump. Pete, I think that you actually would quite like if America went to the system that Canada has,
Yes.
which is where the parties are very cleanly labeled, like liberal, conservative, marijuana, this, that.
For the most part. I mean, you have like the NDP, the New Democratic Party, that it was very interesting watching, by far the most fascinating part, watching the coverage of the Canadian election and them talking about how interesting it was that this turned into a two-party election of like, we've been doing that for centuries.
Yes.
Just
Why would I
rocking with
like
two
it?
parties. But like the NDP didn't really show up. It was very interesting. I was watching how in some places the Liberals attacked NDP incumbents, and instead of winning those seats, it just split the vote, and then Conservatives started winning traditionally Liberal seats. Very fascinating how multi-party system of government works.
Because it's cleaner. It cuts out all of the nonsense.
It's in some ways it's more complicated in other ways, but it allows people to like actually have their views represented instead of having to just kind of drift towards the middle. Like the Liberals kind of have to be a little more progressive because you have the NDP that pushes that platform farther, and same on the other end of the spectrum. It's just much. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but it's much closer to how elections in a free democratic government should operate, in my opinion.
Right. Like I think I'm probably technically independent, but I am a begrudging Democrat. Like I vote Democrat and I'm usually upset with Democrats. And I think that in Canada, you can kind of pick your lane a little easier.
Yes.
Okay. The Panthers take a 3-1 lead. Pete is crawling out of his skin. The Panthers take a 3-1 lead in the Battle of Florida. And this one had everything, folks. And by everything, I mean more hits. We don't do hit chat, but it's tough not to do it because this is becoming a theme of this whole thing. Aaron Ekblad in the second period, a forearm to Brandon Hagel's chin in the second period is not called, and that is stunning to me, but no hit chat. Not beating the steroid allegations. This guy returned from a steroid suspension and now is doing this. Phone hearing for him. We'll discuss that in a minute while trying to dance around the hit chat stuff. But the big part of all of that is that the Lightning were trailing at this point. They were trailing 1-0, and they responded to this non-call with 2 goals in 11 seconds. And the reaction from John Cooper was the best thing we've seen on a bench this side of Jim Montgomery in the second round last year.
Not true, because Craig Berube yelling at Mark Savard after the Maple Leafs scored a goal in the beginning of this series was so funny.
Yes, but
I don't think we ever talked about that on the show, but it was so funny.
But not as it's the best since though the Montgomery thing, because the Montgomery thing last year smokes that, and even this. The Montgomery thing was like borderline problematic.
That was this
year. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
The punching Brad Marchand?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I said in the second round last year.
Oh, no, I don't remember then. What was it?
He was like doing this, and he went like that.
That was when you did the Soulja Boy video.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. That's the most demonstrative coach thing since then, for sure.
The best. Give it to me, Sean.
That bench is fired up, led by the 57-year-old coach. And that's to everyone. That's not just to his bench. That's to anyone that's watching, including the frustration of the penalty not called.
Back to politic chat. He was on his Howard Dean shit, wasn't he?
Yeah.
To me, it was this wrestling reference, a little Stone Cold Steve Austin, a little rattlesnake head shake there that I really liked. It was very, very, I called it bratty on Twitter. It's like just a whole lot of sass in the head shake, and I liked it.
Cooper doesn't usually do that either. He's usually very composed.
Yeah.
So that was, I was fired up. I was absolutely fired up. I think he had every right to be pissed over the Ekblad thing. The response from his team was unbelievable. And seeing that kind of emotion out of him, I loved it. Obviously didn't.
I also
didn't
don't
end up
blame him.
working.
He's 27 minutes away from tying the series and going back home. Like, he should be
Right.
super excited. That should rock. But instead, third period, Aaron Ekblad has a goal overturned by offsides and then follows that up by scoring for real. Like 10 minutes later, Aaron Ekblad not there for his offense. He's there more for his steroid use and for his forearms to the chins of unsuspecting players. But he ends up getting the game-tying goal, and you think, wow, this could not get wilder, until Seth Jones scored 11 seconds later, twice. 2 occurrences of 2 goals in 11 seconds in this game, one for each team, and the latter ends up giving Florida a victory and a 3-1 series lead. So Florida, we said yesterday, come on, you Florida teams, give us something that we're not getting in the Eastern Conference, which is a 2-2 series. Give us something where we can say, all right, it's anyone's ball game, and instead another 3-1 series. And the Florida Panthers, the defending Stanley Cup champions, now with their foot on the throat of Tampa Bay, going back to Tampa Bay where they have already won 2 games.
Yeah, I'm a little, I don't want to say like nervous because I'm not really invested in the outcome of this series, but I would like to see it go pretty deep. Unfortunately, Florida looks awesome.
Florida looks awesome.
And Tampa has had too many breakdowns. Like, obviously, Florida plays a good defensive game, but like Tampa was the best offensive team in the league during this regular season, and they really haven't really broken out offensively. And if you have a couple defensive breakdowns over the course of 60 minutes, you're going to lose to the Panthers. And Panthers just look really good at this point, and I'm nervous that they're going to kind of coast.
How do we feel about Seth Jones making an impact, an offensive impact in the postseason? I love it so much. I've been saying for years, like over a year, get Seth Jones back to the playoffs. Yeah. He'll log a bunch of minutes. Maybe he'll give you a little something, and he does it last night. And it was so wild after the game watching the on bench interview. They're like, let's go down to Emily Kaplan with Seth Jones. And I'm like, I never thought I would see something like this again.
I did have a like when they threw to the interview afterwards, I was like, huh. Yeah, Seth Jones.
That's really Seth Jones.
Seth Jones.
I mean, Seth Jones kind of been killing it so far this postseason because he's been really good defensively too. So shout out to the Panthers.
Dr. Smackin says the Seth Jones story just goes to show you complain enough, you can get yourself to a good team.
Shout out Jimmy Butler.
Shout out Jimmy Butler.
You see Tyler Hero yesterday? He was like, I know that I need Jimmy. We would be in this series if we had Jimmy. And I was like,
why? Is Tyler Hero underperforming? Who's to say?
The Heat are, at least.
The Jimmy clip from yesterday was so good.
I fucking love
You're
Jimmy Butler.
Bitch and a bum.
I love Jimmy
right
Butler.
in his fucking ear. And like, respect to Dylan Brooks, because Dylan Brooks kind of like was there for it. And I know that's what Dylan Brooks is basically.
Can't stand that.
All he can do. And I can't stand him either. But seeing those two go face to face and just talk their shit was awesome.
Let's do a little recap. Game 2, Brandon Hagel with the hit on Sasha Barkov, got suspended a game for that. Game 3, Matthew Tkachuk hit on Jake Gensel, no suspension. Then Game 4, Aaron Ekblad on Hagel. No hit chat. The Ekblad thing, I think, was pretty egregious and pretty obvious. And at this point, given what has happened throughout the series, when that happens, you're like, you knew what you were doing. That was planned. He should get something. He's getting a phone hearing. He should get suspended, I would think. Yes.
Yeah.
Better.
I mean, would you say that this was the worst of the 3?
I think so.
I think so
easily.
too.
I think it's the clearest, like, you knew what you were doing. I thought that Hagel on Barkov was some bullshit.
Definitely.
But I also think we're kind of protective of our stars. And
those were at least like hits.
I think five in a game would have been fine for Hagel on Barkov we said this at the time, like if it was anybody else other than Barkov, I think that's just what it would have been. But the Ekblad is a suspension every damn day.
you asked a good question. Does the PED suspension make him a repeat offender?
I mean, I don't think so because it doesn't fall into like the same realm of infraction. But you made a good point.
That was very PED behavior.
It kind of should be. It can be
Looks like
linked.
he's roid raging.
You can have like the connecting the dots here. This man has roid rage and is just trying to take off guys' heads.
How sick would it be if the video was like, to recap, Hagel was in a defenseless position. Ekblad took 3 steps. Ekblad has used drugs. And it was just like all these things. That would rock.
Let me ask you this. Would you... what was I going to ask? Fuck me. I forgot what I was going to... Go ahead.
That's
Just
okay.
go
It was
on.
a good question.
I forgot what I was going to ask.
I just wanted to say I think he should be suspended 3 games and he should not see this series again.
Because like it's just got to stop.
Well, I mean, it's just like this is clearly this series clearly keeps like ramping up and up. B, that was like one of the most egregious, like it's worse than a punch to the head. That was an elbow to somebody's face, like clear as day, cocked back, like flagrant 2.
Very Trouba-esque.
Multiple
Very Trouba-esque.
game suspension.
I do remember what I wanted to ask. How did you feel about the crowd cheering once they realized it was Brandon Hagel?
This goes back to the Travis Green, like there's no reason to panic thing. There is a reason to panic. It's just not, you're just choosing not to panic, which is good behavior. I understand why they cheer more when they see that it's Brandon Hagel. I don't agree with it, but I understand why. They're doing it because Hagel did something bad to their guy and they're mad. It makes sense.
Yeah, and I hope Brandon Hagel
I don't support it, but it makes sense.
I hope Brandon Hagel is okay. Don't root for injuries. But I completely understand why the Florida crowd did it. And as a neutral spectator, I enjoy the hate that this series is injecting into itself.
Do we get much more of this
injecting
series?
into itself?
Yes. This is a series that was always going to be about injections. Series is now 3-1. It goes back to Tampa. 2 of the last 3 are in Tampa, and Florida has had zero problem winning games there. They won the first 2 games of the series at Amalie Arena. Is the series over?
I wouldn't say it's over. It's very difficult to win.
3 games in a row against the Florida Panthers?
Fair. That's a fair response. But yeah, never mind. I just rescind that take then.
Yeah. I know it just dawned on me too, because I was like, it's like Florida's going to win the series, but, and then as you were thinking of it, like I was kind of finishing your thought and was like, oh, no. Yeah, you can win 3 games against these guys.
I mean, to be fair, yeah, you can win 3 in a row, but only one team in the last 2 years has won 4 in 7 against this team.
Right. But
that's a good point.
Yeah, that's true. But
Vasi has to like kind of steal games, I think.
And Matthew Tkachuk was playing with like an empty body in the series that they lost.
Yeah, also true.
So that's further ammunition for you.
Tampa power play's got to get going, and Vasilevsky has to be dominant.
Although Sean noted yesterday, we're getting right around to that sweet spot where Bob starts to suck.
Yep.
But does Game 7 last year give you like is that like an every dog has his day thing? Or is it, if you don't know, Sergei Bobrovsky, very good in the beginning of series, and then Don Draper only likes the beginning of things and then just gets worse as it goes on. So I think Tampa has a chance. I think that Tampa wins 1 at home. They just got to go to Sunrise, do a job, and drag them back to Tampa. Then bingo, bango, bongo, you got a Game 7. This is the series that I have the most faith in the Eastern Conference going somewhere. Can we at least say that?
Like going 7?
Going somewhere.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't exactly know what you mean by that, to be honest. Like
Montreal, I think, can win. Montreal, I think, can extend their series. I don't think that Ottawa's going to push the Leafs into any sort of situation. I don't think the Devils are going to push the Hurricanes into any sort of situation. So I think that this is the best chance of a series going 6 or 7 games.
The only way that I agree, like this is the closest matchup in terms of talent. But the only reason that I would disagree is if Montreal gets the next one, I feel like they're probably gonna win at home in a Game 6.
Yeah,
and then you're getting a Game 7.
So wait, which other one did I say had a chance? It was that one, yeah, because I said that yesterday. It's like Montreal not dead. I think probably the best chance to extend the series more is Tampa, but Montreal not dead. I think Devils.
We're gonna get to this later. I don't know. Kachekov, I think, puts a little bit of a wrinkle in all. I mean,
we can do that right now. Frederik Andersen is out for Game 5 against the Devils. It's going to be Pyotr Kachekov. We saw him last game. Had his Kachekov moments. This is what I have always wanted from the Carolina Hurricanes. If they're going to win a cup, I want it to be with Kachekov raising it and like throwing it against the glass or something and doing something ridiculous, because that's just how I like my goalies. Do you think the Devils have a chance at getting back in this series now that Kachekov's between the pipes?
I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say no.
They don't.
I mean,
they probably don't.
I think they could, on paper, get back into the series because, I mean, if you win this game, you're down a game. Like, it's 3-2. I think I would consider that a series, but I don't, at no point, even if they force 7, I'm not going to seriously consider them. Like, it was honestly like the Panthers-Oilers last year, where at no point did I take the Oilers seriously once they were down 3-0. until it got to Game 7. I was like,
Devils lineup is so thin though. Like they're gonna have like a couple players absolutely dominate the series, I think, to get it to go to the distance.
Let's jump over to the Western Conference, where the Dallas Stars are 1 win away. 6-2 win in Game 5, up 3-2. First team in the West to win 3 games. They scored 9 seconds in and took a 3-0 lead. Avalanche got back in it for a minute, but ultimately, Stars do it. They're now up 3-2, and I don't want to say is this over, because it's definitely not, but I did not, even though I was the one that was begging for this to be a series and said it can go to 6, let's say. It going to 6 this way is shocking me.
Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely owe the Stars an apology, or I guess like acknowledge that we were super low on them, as a lot of people were. But like there was so much reason to be. They were assholes over the final 3 weeks of the season. They were heading into a series against the Colorado Avalanche without Miro Heiskanen, without Jason Robertson. So like respect where respect is due. They've still like been surprisingly awesome, even though we kind of knew they had it in them. I did not expect it to look like this. I definitely wouldn't say this series is over, especially when you consider that Dallas is probably like the biggest mystery box in the playoffs on any given night. They take games off more than any other team, and then they can absolutely flip the switch back in the next game. You're shaking your head. Are you thinking?
Well, there's just one team that doesn't get applied to any NHL conversation because they are in their own league of stupidity. So,
but like
I understand that, like, non-Oilers category, these Stars are the most. Where is anybody going for you guys right now, other than like 1 or 2 players team in the NHL?
Yeah, I mean, like the Oilers, the way that the Oilers played in the series has been less surprising than the way that the Stars have played, I would say.
I think so too. And the Stars, by the way, not that they are doing this, but if they do any sort of like receipt pulling, horrible behavior. You lost 7 in a row. You were very injured. It was okay that everybody doubted you.
Right. The way that I put it yesterday was that like the Stars convinced me to not believe in the Stars.
Yeah, that's typically how it goes. Whenever people say like, oh, we're keeping receipts on this. If someone says, hey, your team is banged up or your team isn't playing well, it's because your team is banged up and not playing well. I did not leave the Stars for dead. Some did, but I thought that they could make this a series.
They also, I think you got some very, very encouraging signs based off of like Wyatt Johnson and Mikko Rantanen kind of had their breakthroughs. McKinnon hates Charlie Coyle, apparently. We have that video. This video is very, very funny. And I know that players go at each other on the bench quite a bit, and like I wouldn't read too much into it. But just look at how much Nathan McKinnon seems to hate Charlie Coyle in this moment. It's very funny.
The cage, the screen in the Star zone, so it will come on up and out. Tonight's game brought to you by Vector Bank Colorado. Put the financial professionals at Vector to work for you. Big enough to count, small enough to care. Learn more at VectorBank.com, a division of Zions Bank Corporation and a member FDIC.
And Moj, I know it's easy from up here, and the players obviously have.
He's so mad.
The smile was so
He's
fucking
so
devious. It was just like getting yelled at by arguably like a second best player in the league, and then just being like, we're good. Just
I think Charlie
smile.
Coyle was like, yeah, I know, my bad. We'll move on. We're going to be good. And like 10, 15 seconds later, McKinnon's still like, no, fuck you. He's so mad.
McKinnon's his own thing.
I love him so much.
He is absolutely his own thing. What if the Avalanche lose in the first round? What if they lose in the first round? This is a team that very much so reshuffled their roster and they changed up their goaltending. I said last night, welcome back Georgiev on that pop fly that went off of the back of Mackenzie Blackwood. Not a great moment. But not only that, they invested so much at the deadline, trading not only for Charlie Coyle, but for Brock Nelson. And the good news will be if they lose in the first round, Brock Nelson didn't cost as much because some of the return involved conditional picks based on them winning the Stanley Cup. If they lose in the first round, they will not have won the Stanley Cup, but they still will have traded Callum Ritchie and a conditional first-round pick away for potentially like a month or two of Brock Nelson.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna sting if that happens, but like it them's the breaks, honestly. Like I'm not gonna shift like the way that I viewed what the Avalanche did just based off of the fact that, maybe they lose in the first round. I think ultimately my takeaway is one really good team was leaving this first round in this matchup regardless. I think the consequences of Dallas losing the first round probably would have been worse or more severe than Colorado. Like, I think Pete DeBoer potentially gets fired if Dallas loses in the first round there, based off the way that the season ended. And like, yeah, maybe you have the built-in Miro and Jason Robertson excuse, but I don't know. Like, I would maybe consider it if I was Dallas.
That's a good question. Who can afford to lose this series less? I think that Colorado can get out of it saying, at least we solved the Rantanen situation and we figured that out and we got our, I'd say, long-term replacement, but I believe Netchas is only signed for 1 more year after this, at which point they're going to have to pay him and he's probably going to have huge numbers with Nathan MacKinnon. But I think I lean it's worse for Colorado to lose. Like, I can wrap my head around they lost Heiskanen and things just didn't work out, but it's all right. They've got Rantanen signed up for all this time, and the future begins next year. Colorado making that Nelson trade was such a risk, and it's one that I wouldn't have taken that risk. I would have just traded for a different center and spent less.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair takeaway, especially when hindsight's 2020 and you can look back on them losing. I mean, like, at the end of the day, I will not hold it against Colorado for going for it and paying like an exorbitant price for a player that they wanted and identified as the guy that maybe puts them over the top. We've talked about it so much with a team like Tampa, who they are very okay overpaying and shelling out for the guy that they think clicks with their group and makes them a true Stanley Cup contender. And it's just like, that's the way that it goes sometimes. I did want to mention, Eileen brought up in the chat, and I sent this in the group text last night. Liam Bichel fucking rules. He is awesome. He is nasty and a ton of fun to watch. He had his like real bully moment last night, just absolutely taking out guys' ribs. So shout out Liam Bichel. I'm a big fan.
I need to make an admission. The stairs that are lit up at the Stars games, that's grown on me. And I'm understanding what they're going for now. The whole thing looks like a big thing of green. And if you are, it fills in the, I don't want to say cracks of empty seats, just cracks of where there are not people. Because everyone there is pretty much wearing green already. And then you have a little glow of the green kind of bridging the gap. Is it Mickey Mouse? Is it stupid? Yes. But I think it actually looks quite cool. And I don't want other teams to do it. I want it to just be Dallas's thing. But it looks a little better. And I think that when you are at the game, it probably feels rad. You can get to the game by experiencing the playoffs with Vivid Seats.
I like that.
That's right.
Immediately transitioned into an ad
Didn't
read
even
so
let
that
us
I could not respond.
about how terrible of a take that is.
Yeah.
Oh, you disagree, Sean?
Oh yeah, I think that shit looks so cheap. Outside of the fact that it's distracting, like the fact that it's clearly just like they strap some lights onto the
And I wasn't
the railing.
transitioning to an ad read. It was part of the ad read. It was it was saying like,
I mean,
look
yeah,
at
that
what
was
this
the
is.
transition to the ad
Yeah.
read. But
Look at-
I just think it looks very cheap because it's clearly not built into the stadium, so it's not like straight. They're kind of like jagged. And I think it looks cheap.
Gross.
If you're trying to catch your team live this postseason, let us tell you about our friends at Vivid Seats. Vivid Seats is the best place to get your tickets for any live event. They have the best selection of games and seats, and every purchase is backed by their 100% buyer guarantee. Plus, Vivid Seats is the only ticket marketplace that rewards you for every purchase. So download the Vivid Seats app and start earning rewards toward free tickets. New Vivid Seats users who use promo code CHAOS30 will receive $30 off their first purchase of $300 or more. Once again, click the link in the show notes or go to vividseats.com or download the Vivid Seats app. Use code CHAOS30 for $30 off your first purchase of $300 or more. When it comes to playoff hockey, being there is all that matters. So experience it live with Vivid Seats.
You can also experience incredible hockey gear with our friends at Bauer, because the Bauer Hockey sales page offers a wide range of discounted products, including skates, sticks, protective gear, and apparel that caters to players of all levels. We love Bauer stuff. You got any Bauer on right now?
No, but the blades for the person who is new to blading have arrived. I've still got my 4-year-old blades that are going to last me the rest of my lifetime. So I'm a Bauer Blades household.
Same here. It's they're currently in the trunk of my car. I'm gonna be a Blades guy this summer. I'm very excited about it. You can find Blades on the sales page. Go ahead and look at it. Go to Bauer.com. Hit that sales tab at the very top. You'll find some key sales like 45% off select skates, 40% off select sticks, 25% off select protective equipment, and up to 70% off select apparel styles. Bauer.com. Hit the sales page and use our code FREESHIPWC to save even more money with free shipping on your order. Thank you to our friends at Bauer.
Briefly on the lights real quick. I liked the it's green. Now I get it. And you weren't being sarcastic about the lights.
No, I was being sarcastic with my tweet yesterday, and I felt bad when people were responding to it, being like, oh yeah, I am noticing that. Kind of neat. Check it out. I've got a text out to a source asking if the beautiful Korean women will be at the Kings game tonight. Have not heard back. I know this next guest has been all over this story, so let's bring in Paul Bissonnette from Spittin Chiclets and TNT. Biz, what's up, buddy? Are you hearing anything on the harmonicas?
I got no intel. Can you guys hear me though?
Oh yeah,
loud and clear.
Now we're having. Okay, so you do have me. All right, good. My microphone wasn't working, so we're going to put that to the side. I'm just going to use my internal mic. So going a little bit old school here. No intel on the harmonica crew, guys. I haven't sent any feelers out yet. I just woke up. It's been a crazy couple days, but I hope they are for the Kings' sake because they're going to need that type of energy coming off that fumble fuck.
Okay. It has been a crazy couple of days. Absolutely understand. You've been killing it, so you should be very, very tired. We have no idea who is winning the Stanley Cup. Like, the Avs are on the brink of elimination. Vegas is in a battle with Minnesota. Edmonton has no-showed and is still tied. Stars still not healthy. In the East, you got a bunch of teams that are up 3-1, but that seems so wide open. So are you with me when I say that there is so much more uncertainty at this point of the playoffs than there usually is?
Yeah, I don't usually trust my opinion either. And I've been asking like more professionals that I trust, and they say the same thing. Like even going into playoffs, they felt like 7 to 8 teams could win it. I asked Rick Tocchet when we had him on the TNT broadcast about it, and he's like, no, there's like legit 7, 8 teams. So it's still very much up in the air. And like I just read your tweet coming in, Pete, like Dallas, like after last game, I'm like, I'm pretty sure Colorado's Stanley Cup champion. And then boom, Dallas goes home and then just works them. So my opinion's been flip-flopping day to day based on this insane action. But I think we can all agree this has to be the best start to the Stanley Cup playoffs we've ever seen based on the swings and just the chaos, very fitting for your show name, as to what chaos is happening from game to game. Like even like after what happened at the end of the Florida game, bang, bang, they win it. And then Dallas scored 9 seconds in. So it's just like every time you turn on your television, there's a hockey game on, like shit's going down.
It is crazy too to say that like this is the best or craziest first round because all of the series in the Eastern Conference are 3-1, which suggests that like those aren't fun series when they really are. We've done a lot of talk about, you know, who's dead in the water here. Like, do you look at any of these teams already being dead in the water?
I would probably say Ottawa and Montreal are dead in the water. The way that just Florida's built, that was such a tough loss for Tampa yesterday. I thought they got hosed on a few calls, and I think that one's over. I think Florida's going to put the Anaconda chokehold on them. And then, you know what? Actually, same thing with New Jersey. It sucks with all the injuries they've dealt with. I read that Siegenthaler and Pesce are now game time decisions for Game 5 in Carolina. So I would pretty much write off every single team in the East that's down 3-1. And as far as out West, definitely not writing off Colorado. And I would have to put my money on Vegas. Right now, I think the Vegas odds are giving Minnesota plus 195 on the road right now. So I would imagine a lot of people are going to hammer that for the juice. But I think that Vegas has kind of played with fire a little bit up until this point. We have not seen the best of Jack Eichel and that top line, although they did kind of come alive in Game 4 or Game 5, Game 4, excuse me. So I would say Minnesota, it's not looking great, but they've proved us wrong all season, right? Like they had that incredible start, filtered off. They had the injuries. They kind of, stayed afloat, and they've been fighting like bastards in these playoffs, and it's been fun to watch. But there's another one that, like they could easily be up 3-1. That 4-minute minor, they almost had it killed, and I feel like Boldy just kind of missed it, right? He just whiffed on it, and then they end up getting the keep, and next thing you know, it's tie game in OT. So those would be my 6 picks, but more so the East guys down 3-1, they're toast.
Every series in the West being 2-2 would make you think, okay, well then some of these teams that I didn't expect to be in it might have a chance. Are there any of the teams that have quote unquote surprised us? And in some case, like I say St. Louis, I say Minnesota, then when I have to fucking pick one in that Edmonton series, like, are we really going to say that LA is the team that has shown us something when they have really fucked this up so badly despite playing the Oilers? Like, do you look at any of those 3 teams, for example, and say, okay, you know what? We add them to the list. If LA gets out of the first round, maybe they've got something. Or if St. Louis, like, is this 2019 all over again?
So the one concern I have for LA at this point, though, and the fact that like they're not up 3, well, they could have swept them. Like, let's look at it like that, like a horrible challenge, especially at the fact that 2 times in the series, games 1 and games 3, where Edmonton had tied the game, and then within a minute, LA went down and scored. Like Deneau had one, and then Moore had one, like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So the fact they call that challenge to me is insane. There was another view that they were pointing out where when Kane whacked it at first and when he hit his pad, that's what they were talking about. But those challenges, man, they rarely turn those ones back, like 10, 15% maybe. And the problem, well, I guess with both teams is they play their top 3 lines and their top 4D. Like LA, like I think that Brant Clark might have played like 8 to 10 minutes in game 4, and then and I don't even know the other kid's name, the 6th defenseman.
Yeah. Movavari, he played like 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Like that's what I was getting when I played boys. Like, so you're just like draining the energy of these top 3 lines and top 4D, where, I mean, no offense to Doughty, but he's also no spring chicken either, right? So I feel that the mental hurdle for LA will be very difficult to get over after a complete choke job on the road. Like I don't even know if the harmonica ladies can bring them back to life. And also, from like, there was no shock the way they handled that overtime, because you can't just change your mind frame all of a sudden to slowly they started sitting back more and more throughout the third. You can't go back to the way you were playing in the first 2 periods. You're locked in that mode. And for the most part, your legs probably aren't working the same way because you've just been fucking hanging back the whole second half of the game. So I don't get like who was there during the TV timeouts? Like, why wasn't the coaching staff like, boys, like, we're backing up way too much? I get that we sit back typically and we try to force them with our F1 to the red line to get the dump. Boys, we did a drill with Dave Tippett with the Coyotes where we would just say 5 guys stagnant the D zone, and the puck carrier would come in and we would work on our D zone. It felt like Hiller went in like between the second and third and said, hey boys, we're going to work on our 5-on-5 D zone this period. Like, that's what it looked like. I couldn't believe my eyes at the fact that they had 3 guys forwards on the blue and then 2D at the tops of the circles, allowing them free zone entries. Like, it was an amateur hour, like, masterclass.
So do you look at it as like a strategy or sort of like system thing that they're back on their heels, or like they literally could just be running out of energy because they have such a short bench too?
Yeah, but if you work as a 5-man unit, you can at least just get them to dump it in to where they're not getting a clean zone entry with possession. Your defenseman can still go back and like make hard rims, and then at least you're trying a 50-50 battle on the wall where, yeah, sometimes they're going to keep it in, but at least you're creating these 50-50 battles as opposed to just allowing them zone entry. Like 113 shot attempts, boys, like, you're playing with fire. So I don't understand why he was so defensive at the podium, where
Same.
It's like
crazy.
Like you're like, you did not expect us to ask that question? Were you not watching the same game that we were? Like, I have all the respect in the world for the guy. I think they had an incredible season along with incredible goaltending. But I mean, Darcy Kemper, like, what else do you expect the guy to do? You're just playing with fire way too much in that situation, where we asked Leon after the game about their strategy there. And he kind of rolled his eyes and he's like, wow, they always hang back. And that's to begin with. In the neutral zone sense, they weren't even in the neutral zone. They were in their defensive zone. So I don't know what's going to happen in game 5. I hope they come out and play like they did the first 2 periods in basically every single game that they've played against them this series. But that is they might have to take an ayahuasca trip to get rid of that experience.
You mean to tell me that Leon Draisaitl rolled his eyes? I'm not believing this. This does not sound like something that he would do. These coaches, though, dude, like these coaches are having an asshole off. And if I'm Chris Knobloch right now, I am thanking the hockey gods that Jim Hiller is doing whatever he's doing, because we should have 1,000 questions for Chris Knobloch. Mm-hmm. Like, if they are wearing themselves down, and Biz, I'll give you these numbers. Last game, Kings had 8 forwards with over 24 minutes. Oilers had 2 forwards with over 24 minutes. You know what their names are. Kings had 4 defensemen with 30 minutes. Oilers had 1 defenseman, Evan Bouchard, with 30 minutes. So even if I said this yesterday, even if the Kings get through this round, they're like already at the point halfway through a round where you say, boy, that last round really tuckered them out, and they're not even through the round. So they're putting themselves in trouble there. To Chris Knobloch, I say, fucking play Jeff Skinner so you can have more guys who could beat them when they are sitting back and are absolutely all exhausted.
Okay, so great point. Like, advantage Edmonton going to the next round as far as not being as beat, like tired. Also, like Draisaitl and McDavid did get some time off due to injuries at the end of the year, so they're probably okay getting that type of a high amount of ice time. But why'd you say they're having an asshole off? Like, what has bothered you about Knobloch? Like, I felt like he was pretty reasonable about them shooting themselves in the foot in the first 2 games. But you mean by playing Picard back-to-back games?
I was so fucking mad about him going back to picks in game 4.
I'm not.
I was going. Look. I was going Pickard in game 5 either way. I was gonna go Pickard game 3, Stu game 4 because Pickard stinks in back-to-back games, and then on the road, do not put Skinner back on the road. Go with Pickard in game.
Okay, all right. As long as we agree on that.
Right. But when he fucking allowed, and you talked about relinquishing a lead right after they scored, in game 3, after Connor Brown tied the game, and Trevor Moore had a sort of partial break with one hand because he's got, I think, Wallman all over him, and he's got no control over the puck. Did Pickard think that he was going to like fucking deke him or something? He has his 5-hole wide open. All Moore can do is shovel the puck forward, and he fucking lets it in. So I was furious to stick with him then, and he gives up another bad 5-hole goal in the beginning of game 4. I was like, fuck me. None of these goalies can make a save, but Skinner at least can be a big fat idiot and be in front of a puck. So Pete, I was. You
have to deal with these therapy sessions a lot
every day,
dude. I was gonna say you two should have a podcast, and me and Whit should have a podcast. Me and Whit should have an Oilers podcast, and you two should have I have to do a podcast with an Oilers guy podcast.
Yeah, we'll do a little wife swap, eh, Petey?
100%. Let's do it. I do. I mean, I do have to. The Knobloch thing. I thought you were more gonna say like, how many fucking line combinations can a coach throw out there over the course of a 7-game series? Because he's got to be hitting like triple digits at this point. It's unbelievable. And the point at which he throws his lines into a blender is like 40 seconds into the game. Somehow you've already seen 12 different line combinations in the first minute of a game. It's unbelievable. I thought that's where you're going. At some point, though, we do have to talk about your goddamn beloved Toronto Maple Leafs.
Okay, sure, yeah.
All right, I will start the conversation like this. You have a good sense of humor. You have to admit it would be fucking hilarious. Like, it would be the funniest possible outcome if the Leafs lost in 7 here.
I'd probably delete my apps for about 3-4 days if that happened. That's probably the result of the Leafs blowing a 3-0 series lead. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to win game 5. I think that my arsehole will be puckered up about this tight if it even goes to 6, because you'll probably feel the seed of doubt creep in a little bit. But I just feel like I actually feel like we haven't seen Toronto's best other than really in game 1. I felt like that's where they were really clicking. Power play looked good. Contributions from the back end, which have been a very big bright spot for the Leafs so far in this series. But Ottawa's fought hard. Like games 2 and 3, like I felt for the first 40 minutes, they kind of controlled play. So they got to get off and get a full 60 in, like, and also to prove to themselves that they can do it. Because my issue with the Leafs a little bit is sometimes they'll go like these 7-8 minute stretches where you're like, hey, you need like that. Okay, 2 bad shifts in a row. That third line needs to kill it and then get the momentum back and then go back at it. Where I feel like the good teams, like the teams like the Dallases, the Colorados, the Floridas, they don't allow those lapses to happen as long as the Leafs do, and especially against a team like Ottawa. So, credit to Ottawa. They got some good young studs, but ultimately, Leafs got to figure it out at home tonight, get themselves some rest, because if they do play Florida next round, not only is everything going to have to go right, they're going to have to get to a level that they've never gotten to as far as compete. So let's just focus on Ottawa tonight, though. I don't think Allmark has necessarily been at his best. I'm a little concerned with him stealing one. But Stolar is awesome. Like, I don't really have many gripes with the Leafs lineup right now. There's not like any guys I could really pick on. I do wish that, like, looking back, they did a better job of establishing a better bottom six in a sense of like big, heavier players that make more of an impact and can like help wear teams down. I felt like I'm not trying to criticize Dubas too much, but I felt like during that era, they didn't really draft like to fit those needs necessarily per se, right? Like, I do like guys in the bottom six, but there were maybe a few other guys I'd like to have there making an impact. Like for instance, I look at like Minnesota's fourth line, and I know Rossi's probably a little bit like he should be a little higher in the lineup. It just so happens he's on that fourth. But like a guy like Trennan and a guy like Brazeau, like those guys forecheck like madmen. They're big bodies. They're physical. Like, I'd like a little bit more of that from our third and fourth line right now. So McMahon's been quiet. Have you found that? Like, he's played okay, but he's been a little too quiet for me. So I hope he has a big game too in Game 5.
I mean, speaking of wearing guys down, is there any concern in your mind about the shot blocking for the Leafs? Because they are just eating shots. And we said this on one of our overtime streams. Like, I do wonder, like, if the longer this series goes, and like Ottawa's just been absolutely pelting Leafs players the entire series.
Do they
like,
take one of them out?
At some point, does that kind of slow the Leafs down?
No, because like typically teams that go deep do that. Like Vegas was like a notorious shot blocking team. Like you would have Martinez, McNabb, like Petro, White, like all those guys would just eat pucks, right? So you get a lot of bumps and bruises, but the guys who do it for Toronto are also used to it. Mm-hmm. Like Oliver Ekman-Larsson, I wouldn't say it was in his bag before he got to Florida, but he did that with Florida. Like he was solid enough doing that. Chris Tanev obviously is doing that. He's probably like the lead league in block shots. Like, he's basically a goalie, right? Like, so no, I don't. That is not something that concerns me. No.
Does this year feel different to you? And I know that I shouldn't ask a Leafs fan that, because they'll always say like, oh yeah, this year feels different. But all year, maybe it's because the East is so wide open, but also because like I love the Carlo addition. He's looking a little more like 2019 Carlo than he's looked the last couple of years in Boston. I like the goaltending for Toronto. Like, this has been the easiest year to make sense of the Leafs making a run. And I agree with you that if they run into trouble, it's not going to be in this round. It might be against Florida, but how much of your confidence is you love this fucking team, and how much of it is it kind of makes sense this year?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I view that like their toughest round would be round 2 against Florida, because like to me they could beat Washington, they could beat Carolina.
I agree.
I would probably I would have them over both those teams. Like, obviously, if like you held a gun to my head and you said who would you take, Florida or Toronto, I would say like the better team, maybe paper wise, experience wise, proven goaltending wise, would be edge to Florida. But you just mentioned it, like they have good enough goaltending to win a Stanley Cup. Like, the numbers are the numbers from regular season. He's looked good enough in playoffs so far that he could lead them to a Stanley Cup. the back end's big. Like they're not like the most electrifying. Like they don't have a Cale Makar, but for some reason they've stepped it up offensively. So they're getting offense from Morgan Riley. They're getting it from Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and they have those big body shutdown defensemen. And then up front, man, like they're top six. Like JT's playing great, man. Like he's probably been their best consistent forward. He wins his battles. He looks a little bit faster even than last year. Like he looks like he has his jump. And so it would just be a matter of that bottom six, like pulling them over the top. So personnel-wise, boys, like they have a good enough team to win the Stanley Cup. Nope, just nobody trusts that those core four guys can get it done. One thing that does like piss me off sometimes though is like I love Willie. Like I think like his laid back demeanor is amazing. Just like he missed that one breakaway the one game and like he's smiling, but then like in the next period, they're up by a goal and they're what was it? I think there was like it was 4-on-4 and Toronto had or Ottawa had their guy coming out of the box, right? So he obviously from a like knowing the clock perspective, like you have to have clock time management. You have to know that. He had it in the O-zone and he like fumbled it and lost it and then he trips the guy. So then all of a sudden like Ottawa's gets the 5-on-3 and then they score on it where I'm like those are the things where it's like, buddy, you got the 1-goal lead. You have the puck in the offensive zone. Don't fuck around with it. Understand clock management. This is playoffs. Fuck off with the tomfoolery. Like when I was playing with my coach, Mike Stothers, if that would have happened, he would have had the video up between periods with the laser pointer being like, what the fuck is this? Like, what are you doing? Like, fuck you. Like, this is bullshit. Because it is. And like when you're making 11 million, you shouldn't be making mistakes like that. Like those are things and kinks that you work out in the regular season. So does he make up enough for it offensively? Like that's pass over to Oliver Ekman-Larsson? Absolutely. But if the Leafs want to win a Stanley Cup, they're going to have to not only get those plays being made by those guys, but they're going to have to dial it in mentally because the teams like Florida, they'll fucking eat you alive when you make mistakes like that. Dallas, they'll eat you alive when you make mistakes like that. Same thing with Colorado. So luckily the teams in the West are beating the shit out of each other, and Toronto's hump would definitely be just getting over Florida.
Okay, this show's motto is we do chit chat, not hit chat. But how do you handle people calling everything dirty? Because I saw your tweet after the Wilson hit, and I feel like I see this often from you where you react to people's maybe overreactions. I'll say definitely overreactions to every hit needing to be, let's call the police.
Every time they complain about these hits now, it's just like, what, like, do they not understand what knee flexion and torso, like how you're supposed to be, like what angles you're going to be at when you're skating and making a skating stride? Your head is going to be the first thing that absorbs contact, even if you're trying to drive through a player's body. Like it's impossible to like look at that. He's got his arm in, shoulder down, and his shoulder's basically hitting him like in like the collarbone / like neck area. Like, I don't know, he's a little bit taller. Where do you want him to get him? That's where he's exposed. Like, keep your head up coming through the neutral zone. What do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, I mean, like I just don't even engage in the hit chat stuff on Twitter anymore because like you could have the most clear-cut dirty play that you've ever seen in your life or the most clear-cut clean hit you've ever seen in your life, and there will be somebody posting screenshots being like, actually, this is dirty. Like, there will always be an opposition, so it is always a losing battle. Like, where do you put what's happened in the Florida series so far? Like, how do you rank those incidents with Hagel, with Tkachuk, and now with Barkov, or with Ekblad? Where do you rank them?
Yeah, so I was okay with Hagel getting a game, but I just, like, for people who maybe like never played, and once again, like, this is not an insult, Barkov is such an amazing 200-foot center, right? And he's so long and he's able to close on guys. So when he was closing on McDonough and Hagel was tracking Barkov, probably for that reason, right? Like, you're trying to not only support McDonough as a player coming back there, but when Barkov reached over and like lifted his stick, it almost looked, because the puck shot out, that he made contact with it. That's what I thought originally. Like, when I saw it in real time, I was like, oh, he knocked it off his stick and then he caught him perfect timing. And then they called the penalty, and even Hagel was like, what? And look at the replay, he didn't touch it. So I deemed it as a hockey play, but he made the wrong read. It was definitely more of a violent hit than the Tkachuk one, in a sense of like how much he got, like power he got him with. So at that point, onus has to be on the player. Okay with him getting the game. Where I assumed that they would give one to Tkachuk was like we all know what Tkachuk was trying to do there. Like, come on here. Like, let's not even argue that, right? Are we all on the same page?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's Tkachuk.
Which, as Jans pointed out, he's smart enough to hit him just the perfect like strength to not get suspended. But when he got him, like Gensel was blindsided and he landed on his head. You can see his kind of reaction where he hits his head and he's like, so I thought based on the precedent being set with Hagel that they would have given Tkachuk one, but he flirted that line perfectly. He took the perfect opportunity in a nothing game at that point to get his cheap shot in retribution for the Hagel play, and he gets out alive. Now, I think just like peer pressure along with the elbow from Ekblad, I think he's probably going to get a game. That would be my assumption, because it would be so ridiculous if they get two cheap shots and then Tampa gets one and Tampa's the only one with a suspension. And Coop was obviously pretty animated about it, and rightfully so, on the fact that there was a no call. And then sure enough, that guy ends up getting the tying goal. So like I said, I'm not like one of those people that'll scream from the mountaintops like, oh, that's dirty from Tkachuk, he deserves to get suspended. It's more of like, I don't know, man. If you're going to throw Hagel out for a game and Barkov's back, like Gensel got back up and he stayed in the game. Like, credit to him. So I thought that so what did you guys think?
I think that if you don't suspend Ekblad, you have to allow a player on the Lightning to take steroids.
I agree.
Even the field.
I agree.
Do you know the answer to this? We were asking, does Ekblad count as a repeat offender when he took steroids and then did something that looks like roid rage?
You guys are idiots, man. You guys are idiots.
Okay, well, we're going to pull up some of your tweets because you've been hitting something that we hit yesterday, which is, do the Oilers need to win this round to keep Connor McDavid? And you had a tweet in game 2. Yeah. Kings are the real deal. Oilers on the ropes. Who starts for Edmonton next game? Man after my own heart. Is McDavid putting up with this much longer? It's ugly. And then game 4, I think it must have been that shitty one that Pickard allowed. That goal may make McDavid a Maple Leaf. He's fed up. I will remind folks that you knew that Bowman was going to Edmonton. You were the first person I heard whisper a little something about, hey, Stan Bowman to Edmonton. Book it. Do you know something, or is this just conjecture?
No, I'm just fucking around. I'm just stirring the pot. And like the play was, yes, you're right. It was on the 3-1 goal where I believe McDavid snapped it back and Bush bobbled it. Bush is a Jekyll and Hyde, by the way. Like,
oh yeah.
He is like, you never know what you're getting with him. He's got like split personality disorder out there, which is awesome. If you have no,
it's electric.
Dude, if the playoffs ended today, he'd be in the Conn Smythe conversation because his numbers are fucking bonkers.
It's like if Rasmus Ristolainen was also Cale Makar.
Yeah.
The best.
Yeah.
That would be the best.
Exactly. He's like, was it Me, Myself, and Irene, where he's like he just like is a new person all of a sudden? But he bobbled that one. I think he double clutched it, and McDavid just went back to the bench, and they had the slow motion look on his face. And I'm like, okay, this is my time to shine here and just stir the pot. But no, I don't know anything, and I'm sure he's happy in Edmonton, and he seems like a Sidney Crosby type, where he's extremely loyal. And I could only imagine Leon Draisaitl if he ended up saying, "Hey, peace out." Like Leon might kill him.
Yeah, like he would get a gun. I think
that's almost. I want to see them play together forever. I love their friendship, but I would be really intrigued by the Connor-Leon relationship and how it goes if Connor ever leaves. It would be amazing.
Can you imagine them scrapping center ice like Leafs Oilers first matchup? This McDavid and Leon teeing off on each other because of the betrayal.
I will say, somebody in our chat yesterday said, oh, like what would it do for Leon's numbers and his career if McDavid left? If Leon had to be the only guy on a team, he would be fucking awesome. He would be what Nathan McKinnon is. He would be incredible.
Yes, he can drive his own line. Yeah, like every team's going to have a talented enough top 5 players where he still is going to be in a 90 to 110 point range regardless. Like it's just, obviously those guys are just on a different planet. So when you have another guy like that, you're able to, it's like a Pippen and Jordan situation where you can just do even more superior things. But yeah, it ain't affecting him. And like McDavid was injured at the end of the season. Like you see what he can do without him.
Last one from me. Who wins in a fight, 100 Irish Travelers or a gorilla?
I don't know, man. When they got the blow in them and they got the pops in them, those guys are like the Energizer Bunny, man. They got the cross eyes, they got the twitch in their eyes, man. They go crazy. So I had to put my money on 100 Irish Travelers.
How did you? Pete was talking about this before the show. Like, what really you've done so many great things. You were this amazing Twitter personality, and then obviously the podcast and the TV and everything. What really vaulted you into being like a household name and a hero who everybody loves is the fact that you fought maniacs.
Guys, I'm sure you guys have heard the story. Like, so I always go to that Houston's, right? And like, I had a couple puffs of a joint. I go in, I order my salad, and I chill. I just chill there, right? So the last thing I expected at Houston's Family Restaurant was something like that to happen. And it just kind of escalated out of nowhere. The last thing I wanted to do was scrap in a restaurant, but they're like, I knew the guys. So I was just like, why are guys like in this guy's grill right now? Like, this makes no sense. And the fact that it had gone on for 45 seconds at that point, like, I don't know if it's because I like had took a couple puffs or whatever, or because like that was my job in the NHL. I was just like, okay, well, this is ridiculous. They don't have security here and nobody's doing anything. So I'll walk over. And like, as I'm walking over, they were still being dickheads. So yeah, probably could have did a better job of de-escalating the situation. But at the end of the day, who gives a fuck? And I got boot fucked in the head a couple times, and we live to laugh about it, right?
Did you have any like concern after the fact that you were in like a marijuana induced psychosis and that you were actually just envisioning and like hallucinating and you were just fighting like a nice family of 5?
It's like that bitch stole my appetizer. That was my salad.
They play you back the security footage and you're like, oh, that's not what I thought happened whatsoever.
It's like, sir, you ripped the kid out of his stroller. Like, what are you doing?
And you had already put out the video explaining what happened. You were like, I go to this restaurant. Yeah. So this gentleman is being mean to this person. And we see the video after. We're like, oh, that's not what it was, bro.
Nope. That was peyote. You were smoking crack. I wasn't cannabis. But yeah, no, I just remember afterward how gassed I was because I went from like just being in chill mode to next thing you know, it was like Peter Griffin and the chicken having a scrap. 3 minutes go by and I'm sitting on the curb at CVS and I'm doing post-game press conferences. So yeah, it was just a crazy time, boys. And like, I don't know, I do feel like weird shit does happen to me more frequently than others. Like I'm one of those guys where like I just find myself in a weird situation sometimes. And yeah, like I talked to like a few of my buddies are just like, buddy, how does this shit always happen when you're around? And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's
because you've got a zest for life. Yeah. That's why.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it's like Feidelberg. Feidelberg
no one believes his stories,
crazy
and that
stories.
They all happened.
And people always think that he's just making up his stories. And like based off of the one time that I hung out with him for a night, it was the craziest fucking story I've ever had in my life. We stole a dog. Accidentally. And it was just like, I 100% believe all of his stories because he told that story exactly the way that it happened. And it was insane.
We saw a dog that was by itself and we were like, we're going to the beach to have a late night swim. We can't let this dog be by itself. Let's bring it to the beach. Let's take care of him. Let's feed him. We wake up the next morning to the next door neighbors who are like, hey, we saw you come on our porch and take our dog.
Oh, no.
Back? And we were like, fuck, that's what happened. Yeah, that's what was going on with the dog.
Did you guys have it in your place?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
My head hit the pillow being like, DJ, you are a good person. You saved a dog. You keep good company. You all did the right thing. And then the next morning when they were like, can we have our dog back? Everyone's like, right.
Yeah,
Totally.
You're waking up to body cam footage.
That
is. But Fights is the man. He's so talented, much like you guys, and funny bastards. All you guys are funny bastards. I love Fights.
You know what? When the first time we had Seth Jarvis on, I was like, do you know John Feidelberg? He was like, don't know who that is. And I was like, you're very similar because you both seem to, like, everyone loves you and you hate yourself. And that's just kind of Seth Jarvis, which is amazing. And that's what Feidelberg is. And I'm glad there are people in this world like them.
Yes, we all need more people like Fights and Jarvis, and definitely need more guys like Jarvis in the NHL. If you had like two Jarvises per team in the NHL, we would be in very, very, very good shape.
Amazing. Well, Biz, there is no one like you. Thank you so much for coming on. We always appreciate you, buddy.
Oh, right back at you guys. Keep doing your thing. I love seeing your guys clip, watching your show. You guys crush it, and I love running into you guys when we're at the events too. And Blackie, I'm sure I'll see you at the Stanley Cup Finals. But you're getting married this summer, right?
I am. Yeah.
Are you a groomsman, Beaner?
I'm the best man.
That's right.
Wow. There you go. That's a lot of pressure.
I'm giving him away.
That's right. He's walking me down the aisle.
Do you have to MC the wedding too?
I will. I probably am not supposed to, but I fucking will. I'll make it story time.
Okay.
I'll give him a prop mic so he can like pretend.
No one knows it's not on. I'm just walking around just being like, hi. Having a good time.
Hey, you won't gift him the neighbor's dog for his wedding present.
That would be the best.
Yeah.
You're the
love
best.
You boys. Love you boys.
Too.
Keep doing your thing.
Find a way to get some sleep at some point soon.
I'm gonna go right back to the rapper right now.
You got it.
All right,
Later,
appreciate you.
Biz.
Love you, boys.
What a legend. He's fantastic. There's no one like him. He said that there should be more people like Jarvis. There should be. I don't want another Biz. I want Biz to be the only place you can find great hockey analysis and being attacked by people when he did not have it coming. All of it.
I'll tell you who wants there to be another Biz. ESPN.
Yes. ESPN could use another Biz.
You say that after ESPN had an absolute banner night.
I will say, ESPN had a great night last night. That's a great.
I don't think it was by any not by their plan, not by like
they're not supposed. They can't. They try to plan funny segments all the time, and they never hit. Well, they accidentally made a great. Well, they accidentally made the first part of a great.
They did capitalize on lucking into a funny situation.
They had Dave Jackson in studio last night, and then after the Ekblad thing happened, Mark Messier and PK Subban with Dave Jackson in studio was electric. Because Mark Messier lost his fucking mind, and it was amazing. And then they came back in the second intermission, and they set Messier up for like how angry he got about the Ekblad forearm shiver, and just showed a montage of Messier like trying to kill guys, and it was hilarious. And it was made even more hilarious by the fact that Messier was so uncomfortable and so mad and was like, that was 30 years ago. Played a different sport.
Which, fair. I thought it was fun that ESPN was having fun with it. That's not something that I'm typically getting from them. So great job on that.
And I absolutely love when people yell at Dave Jackson. So I was there for that portion.
Dave Jackson was completely right. Messier was just so emotional in the moment that he was not listening to what Dave Jackson had to say. And then PK said the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, which is that the Ekblad hit was you couldn't have called an elbow on that, even though it was like the only point of contact was Ekblad's elbow. And then Messier just absolutely lost it at that point. It was hilarious.
It is very funny that Dave Jackson was right for the first time in his life and got absolutely screamed at by Mark Messier.
I do have some breaking news. We can expect harmonicas at the Crypt this evening.
Huge.
Okay?
I mean, if those ladies weren't there after how that series went in Edmonton, it would be the biggest chunk of all time.
They need that so badly. That is the last crumb of hope. And that sounds dramatic, but like right now, if you're the Kings, and if you're, I'm not saying that like you're done and you're not still absolutely in this, but if you don't have that one thing that reminds you of the good old days, damn, what do you have?
They need to make it better each time. But incrementally. Like the first time you just had the women, the second time they had jerseys. By the time it gets to the Stanley Cup, I want like a full blown Super Bowl halftime show production.
Oh,
I was gonna say
they gotta be
buckets.
Yes, I was gonna say
they more and more
gotta
in
have
uniform.
more and more uniform elements as this series goes along.
Yeah, by the end of it,
holding the like stick in your like armpit while you play.
By the end of it, it turns into like a Disney on Ice where they're skating around playing the harmonicas. For the anthem.
I mean, they do have to be on the ice at some point, right?
Yes, 100%. They need to get closer and closer to the ice.
Yeah.
Closer to the action. Okay, we'll see what happens. I'll say, by the way, I've been worried the whole series. This is, and here's where we get in trouble. This is the first day I've woken up for one of these games. Actually, no, I felt good about game 2, but this is the best I have felt. I don't like that because I don't have confidence in the Edmonton Oilers.
I mean, before the last game, you were saying that the Oilers were going to lose. So,
I think
you have had an appropriate read on this series. I think.
Well,
that's nice of you to say, but
no, that's what the last time he said the Oilers were going to lose, and they did not. So
I think that saying the Oilers were going to lose that game was still the right call.
Yeah, I guess more my point is like you being comfortable might not be a good sign because you weren't comfortable last time.
Yeah, but I feel like his feelings towards the Oilers have been valid.
Yes, that I agree with 100%.
So yeah, you were. It's hard to say that you were right or wrong last time out.
This series is not for the right or the wrong. NHL draft lottery is on Monday, so we will be doing a stream for that. That's going to be very, very big stuff. Boston Bruins have the fifth best chances getting the first overall pick. NHL will probably rig it because they're an original 6 team. We're probably going to get some like
let's hope.
Hawks 1, Bruins 2, Bruins 2, Hawks 1, Preds 1. I don't know, but make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube because that's where you get all of our overtime streams, all of our videos that are not on this show, and also things like the lottery stream. So be there for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little nervous at this point that maybe I have not been hurt to completion yet. Like
they got one more in them.
Yeah, maybe one more swing of the boot straight to my nutsack during the draft lottery. We'll see what happens, but like I guess if I hope that like they finish with the fifth pick, then I probably won't be disappointed.
I mean, I feel like
4 or 5, you're still getting Hagens.
Mathematically speaking, you're most likely to end up where you're slotted, right? So like,
correct.
I feel like if you're setting yourself up for failure
by hoping
it's going to be anything other than anything other
I've
than
hit
that.
the tankathon quite a bit this season. I've hit the tankathon quite a bit this season.
That means
and I'll tell you what, the Bruins ended up in the top 3 several times.
That means
there's a chance.
0 things. We did a bunch of tankathons for the Arizona Coyotes when they were in the lottery, and they won a bunch of times. And famously, the Arizona Coyotes franchise has never had the first overall pick, even though they finished with the.
I'm holding on hope for them. They'll get it soon.
One of these days.
Sean, hit me with the slate, brother.
Slate.
4 games tonight, following up yesterday's 2 for 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. You can get the Maple Leafs trying to put away the Senators at home. They lead that series 3-1. This will be game 5. Also a game 5 in Carolina, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Devils at Hurricanes. Carolina trying to take this thing home. That'll be on TBS. ESPN has Wild at Golden Knights game 5. What a series. What a series. That's at 9:30 p.m. And then at 10 Eastern in the United States and Canada, Oilers at Kings game 5. Series tied 2-2. It's on TBS. The Koreatown Senior and Community Center harmonica class expected to be there, honking on the bobo. And we see what happens. We see who takes control of this series. Going in, let's see. Either of the 2-2 series, Wild at Golden Knights, Oilers at Kings. Will you think either one is over after tonight?
I guess maybe if the Golden Knights kick the shit out of the Wild. But even then, like maybe not. There is no chance that I'm going to believe that the LA Edmonton series is over based off of what happens tonight. Just no way.
Has there been a real game in that series? Maybe game 2, which was just like a straight like one team was good, one team was bad. The game 2 is the only game of that series that I think was kind of like a somewhat normal-ish hockey game. So I agree with you. Whatever happens tonight, I expect to be empty calories and fake and brain rot. So no, I will not base the rest of the series based on whatever I see tonight. I think that you're right. If the Golden Knights smoke the Wild, then yeah, you feel that that's kind of done. But Wild have definitely shown me something.
Definitely.
These are 4 good games. I don't care about the Devils and Hurricanes.
3 good games.
Sens. This is a big step for the Sens tonight.
Drag them back to Ontario.
That's right.
Get a win. Bring them back
Famously.
to Ontario. Well, bring them back to the Ontario that TNT doesn't go to.
Yeah, fair.
Because they do go to this Ontario. It's just that Ottawa, the capital of Ontario, capital of Canada?
Capital of Canada is Ottawa.
Yes, is a small Canadian city, I believe, is the way, or a small Canadian market is the way they put it.
Should the people of Edmonton be offended that they're considered a small Canadian market based off of TNT's explanation?
If you are offended, you are wrong. It's a
Yeah,
truth.
I mean,
I was looking at, interestingly, a lot of maps of Canada yesterday, election maps, and they block out like the big areas, and it's just Montreal, Toronto, and Vancouver.
But like, if you're talking about a market, like an NHL market, Edmonton is not small.
I mean,
I
market.
get
By
what both
market
of you are
standards,
saying.
it is.
Yeah, like
they sell
is
out
like,
the stadium.
When you say market, you're thinking of like TV and all that shit. Like it is small,
but it is a good hockey market.
It's passionate and it's loyal,
but it is small by all like measurable.
I don't know
with the
what
exception
small
of
looks like, I guess.
The exception of they sell tickets, and I think that's the most important part. But they're not going to get big TV deals.
Okay, this slate is an A because it is the postseason. Are any series wrapped up tonight? Does Carolina end it?
Yeah,
I think
so.
Carolina ends it. I think Toronto ends it.
Nope.
I don't see this being the series that gives them trouble.
I think
could be wrong.
Toronto ends it. I don't think Carolina does. I think we get a little bit of an asshole game from playoff Piotr tonight.
What if? Oh, wait, this is great. What if he's awesome? Is there anything Pyotr Kochetkov can do that makes you say, got to stick with him in the second round? Got to go with him against Montreal or Washington?
40 save shutout.
I mean, no, because like if he's awesome tonight, then that's a one game sample against a depleted New Jersey Devils team. How much confidence are you really like? How much is your confidence really being shifted by that one game? Depends on Freddie Anderson's availability, though. You could be seeing plenty of Piotr, which we should all be hoping for. Except if you're a Carolina Hurricanes fan.
$1 to win 101 on Pyotr Kochetkov Conn Smythe odds.
Fuck,
you
yeah.
did?
I did not yet, but I tweeted when Pyotr got out of the game, I tweeted playoff P, and somebody said Conn Smythe journey starts now, and I looked it up, and you get pretty good odds.
It's only 100 to 1 is it's not as juicy as I would expect.
I don't think they want to run the risk of putting odds out too long. But yeah, it was
I threw a lot on
available.
When McKinnon's odds got crazy, I threw a good amount on it. And it gave one of those like I think the first one I've ever gotten, which was your bet is under review.
Oh wow.
Like we need someone to take a look at it and say, okay, we'll let him put it was like $50 or whatever, but it's to win like $25,000. And they were like, are we sure we want to do this? Nah, McKinnon's not winning. Fine.
I have 2 Conn Smythe futures out, and neither of them are looking particularly good right now.
Who?
Gabe Landeskog and Ivan Demidov.
Okay, then.
Oh.
Those are very funny concepts.
Yeah, I put $1 on each of them to win $100. But I was doing it for the vibes. The vibes won't be dead though.
Pulling for you. Make sure you're subscribed, everybody. Pete, tell the folks to like the video.
Go ahead and like the video. It's a thumbs up button right below the video player. We very much appreciate it. Anywhere you can give us some support, we'll take it. Audio, YouTube, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Instagram. We're throwing out some Instagram posts with furiosity throughout these playoffs. So yeah, wherever you find us and help us. 5 stars, reviews, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Real quick, Fighting Amish doesn't know geography. Edmonton is larger than Boston, but the Boston metro area, the Boston market, is significantly larger than the city of Boston.
There were a few comments like that, and I'm like, I'm just gonna.
I need to address it because I'm a huge
Boston's New
geography guy. Boston's market is massive. Boston proper is quite small.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The size of the market is not the actual geographical size of the town.
But even like Boston Metro, like even ignoring the rest of the market, Boston Metro is one of the largest metro areas in the country, in North America. Boston proper is quite small. But
all right. With that, we will talk to you tomorrow. More politics coming your way on What Chaos. Bye-bye.
We all silly like the mayor.